I don't know about you, but I've been stuck inside a lot thanks to this winter. Being stuck inside means a lot more doom scrolling and ending up down rabbit holes. Perhaps you've done the same and ended up on some wild conspiracy theories that seem believable. Perhaps you've been going a little stir crazy being cooped up and you're starting to experience supernatural things that you can't explain. Perhaps you accidentally picked up a book and are now convinced of deities. Perhaps this is the best place to call right now and tell us all about it. Truth Wanted is starting now. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth Wanted. I am your host, John the Skeptic. This is the live call-in show that happens every single week, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time, where we talk to people about what they believe and why. And if you'd like to call us, you can at 1-512-991-9242 or through your computer at tiny.cc/cooltw. Truth Wanted is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 non-profit organization dedicated to the promotion of atheism and critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. And tonight, we are tri-streaming. So we've got a big welcome to our viewers on TikTok and on YouTube Mobile or YouTube Mobile, as well as our viewers who are already there on YouTube. And every week we are joined by a special guest. And of course, this week is no different. Today we have Thinker with us. How are you doing, Thinker?
I'm doing good, John. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And you're no stranger to these shows now. You've been around on some of these shows, so I'm really excited to getting into something with you on this and getting some calls. But before we have a little chat, we do just need to give you last week's results of the We Want the Truth segment. So we're going to pull in our backup host, Rob, hopefully, to fill us in on what last week's question was and give us a new question this week.
Hey, folks. First time here, but there's a question. Last week it was, when do people conveniently ignore skepticism? And this is what our favorites were. So at Alec Julian said, people conveniently ignore skepticism every time they buy a lottery ticket.
It's fair.
Yeah, I suppose so. And then, I don't know how to say this name, but I'm going to say it this way. Chuck Gatos, 5387, said, people conveniently ignore skepticism after they believe something someone said, because we all know that they say after you agree with someone, you become an ally, and then you must agree with everything else that person says.
Right.
I don't know, but I have seen people do that. But our favorite came from Blue 5469, which said, people conveniently ignore skepticism at the glory hole. I really like this one because it's a very practical application of a lack of skepticism, right, or a willful lack of skepticism.
It also sounds like there's a glory hole that everyone goes to, and there's only one. It's the glory hole.
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you noticed that, because that is literally what they typed, was the glory hole.
Yeah.
Yes, there is one.
There is. Which state idea is that in? Because I want to conveniently ignore skepticism when I go to that state and visit the glory hole.
The fewest skeptics are in the state with the glory hole. But this week we have a new question. And we want to ask, what biblical mistranslation should be in the Bible? If you could, for our purposes, purposely misunderstand something, what phrase, what verse would you use, and why? What would then become?
You asking
John?
Me?
Yeah, John, what do you think?
Okay. Well, I was one of the fortunate folks that didn't really grow up with the Bible, so I don't know a lot of it. But I'm sure there's something about, like, judge thee not lest ye be judged, or something. How about judge thee not lest ye be cancelled?
Ooh.
Yeah. I was going dark then. Oh.
I mean, I think a very modern version of that would be very similar to that, I think.
There you go. That's mine. And I'm going to write to those that print the Bible and see if we can get it in next year's edition.
I'm sure they'll love that. Thank you. Yeah. No skepticism there. Thinker, what do you got?
I would say There is one where it's something about whatever the Lord put together, let no man put asunder, and they use for like marriage or whatever.
Mhm.
And I would they say pastors say God said you are my husband or you are my wife. It should say if someone said I told you to marry you, they're lying. God said if someone they're lying, like automatically lying.
Just snap judgment.
Yeah, yeah.
I actually had a hard time with this one, so I started just like looking up Bible verses and being like, what speaks to me?
Right.
And I landed on Matthew 18:20, which says, "For where there are 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with them." And I went through a lot of Bible verses, and when I read this, I immediately saw Agent Smith from The Matrix just like morph into one of the people who's gathering in a small clique. So can you imagine? You just like you show up with some friends, and everybody's like, you're talking to one person, and your buddy is walking over, and as he's walking over, he's slowly like into Jesus. He's here with you now.
It was only meant to be a sentence. You've just created the whole scene in a movie.
Well, yeah, well, that's what spoke to me. This is
Well,
the only
great.
thing that made sense.
Okay. I like it. Well, if you want to leave a comment under this video with what you think a biblical mistranslation should be in the Bible, they will be read out in next week's show, which would be awesome. Thanks, Rob, for reading those out and for giving us all something to think about. If that does make it into the Bible, there'll be a picture of the agent rather than, how
yeah.
like in the dictionary you've got to have a picture that accompanies some words. Just like what's the definition of gullible, and then there's a picture of me in there. That.
Well, I think like in early versions of Bibles, there'd be scribes like literally arguing with each other in the
Right.
margins. So I think that they would be using this time to like figure out which character would in fact morph into when 3 or more people gather at a time.
Okay.
Well, thank you for
Good. Go and sleep somewhere, and we'll call you back up towards the end of the show.
I am off to the dungeon.
Good. Good. We'll get you back later. Anyway, Thinker, I'm so glad that you're here. I would like to know, because I haven't met you before, so I would like to know, like, where would I find you? What kind of things do you do? What have you been up to? Let's get into that before we start taking some calls, which we do have lines open for.
Sure. Well, I'm mostly on TikTok. Sunday, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I do third shift phone calls, and I talk to the insomniacs, the third shifters, and the truck drivers. Those of us that have abnormal sleeping schedules. And then also on YouTube.
Sorry, I'll just to jump in, but do you find that like that shift does bring in slightly more outlandish calls?
Oh, hell yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it time? Like, I always have to ask, are we past the 2 minutes?
Listen, you say whatever you want, and I'll take the flack for it.
Okay. Yes. It like the most craziest calls come in the middle of the night, but they are so funny. And I was telling you before the show when we were in the green room, we had a call of a guy last night who was claiming like the Anunnaki is the true story of Genesis, which is not. That's not the abnormal part. The abnormal part is that he was talking like, you know what I'm saying, gang, gang. He's like, yeah, the Anunnaki shorty, like that's what it really is. And then he said he could speak Sumerian. So I'm asking him to speak Sumerian, and he starts crashing out. And I just started imagining like he's saying Musa. Like, I don't know if you know what Mamusa is in Sumerian, and like keg and all of that. But we were joking because we started speaking Sumerian and like gang type shit on God. Like it was hilarious. Like, yeah. Yeah.
I'm genuinely no idea what you just said. I'm sitting there going,
like,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So like talking AAVE in Sumerian.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And what would you say, like, is it all like God stuff that you get, or do you get some like, oh, we believe in Bigfoot down here? And
no, I don't. We get all God stuff. Like,
okay,
it's all So I'm
that's
very strict on my life, very strict about the topic because of what the intentions are. So I only talk to believers of the God, people deconstructing, or atheists.
Right.
Anything else, I don't
So it would be kind of nice for you then if we got some calls on some like ghostly stuff or some cryptids and stuff like that to really mix it up for you. Well, I mean, but also we'll take some religious calls too. How long have you been deconstructed, and how long ago did you go through that journey, or were you always a non-believer, or?
No, I was a pastor's kid.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. My mom is an evangelist. I used to be a missionary. I used to preach for the God. So it's only been 7 years now that I've been deconstructing. I'm still deconstructing. I don't think that deconstruction is ever a process that you actually end. There's so much shit in the world happening and different experiences that I think we realize that there are things inside of us every day that we have to deconstruct. But yeah, I became an atheist. Well, I have a professed atheist now for probably a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
I was scared.
So you're new to it then. You're a new atheist.
I'm a baby atheist. You know how they say baby Christians?
Yeah, right.
I'm a baby atheist.
And I don't think like anybody ever stops deconstructing ever. And even people who never really truly deconstructed don't stop either, because I was never a believer in gods, and I'm still like processing stuff.
Yeah.
Something new comes up and you're like, oh, hang on. So I get it.
Yeah, because it's not just religion, right? Like the religion affects the other systems, patriarchy, capitalism, right? There's in the world, and believers ask the most weirdest question. Like they'll say, why do you talk about God if you don't believe in him? And it's like your religion affects every facet of life.
Right.
And the fact that you don't know that or recognize that just says to me that it's fake.
Right.
But there's so much to deconstruct because of all of the isms in the world. Even if you don't believe in God.
Right. And I say I didn't deconstruct with God, or I didn't have to go through that process, but I did have to go through the whole afterlife thing, because I grew up in a spiritual place where we believed that dead people were around us all the time, and any sound that you heard was a dead person, or any message that you got in a dream was from a dead person. And I had to step away from that, which I found quite a difficult thing, because when I die now, I don't believe that that's going to happen to me, and I'm not going to be squished in with all these dead people just walking around the earth. So I kind of get it.
Do you think religion or like your family indoctrinated you into the idea of dead person or Hollywood?
No, my family.
Okay.
My family definitely. Yeah, my family were very much believers in mediumship.
Okay.
So my mother would go to church, but it was just old ladies sitting at the front talking to dead people and passing on messages.
Really?
It was so terrifying.
That's what church was? It wasn't a pastor preaching?
No. And it wasn't even called church. It was just called.
Oh, okay.
But that was my version of it. And I got taken to some of these things and would just be, a 9-year-old child sitting there listening to dead people talking through alive people, going, what the bloody hell is going on? and being convinced that I had the gift. And that's what led me to my deconstruction from that, because I was like, oh, well, if I'm going to be a person who can talk to the dead, I'm going to learn how to do it the right way. And then in researching how to do it, it just took me down this journey of, oh, this is a load of rubbish then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's kind of how I figured out that I wasn't actually speaking a holy language when I was speaking in tongues. And, so you thought you were talking to dead people, and I thought I was talking to a dead God.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh. So I guess your family is still religious, and I can only imagine living in the USA, how difficult that is.
It was difficult at first, but we've learned boundaries.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so I told my mom, she asked me, like, when I first started researching, to just keep it to myself and not share with her what I find, because she said it would break her heart if she found out that what she dedicated her life to was a lie. And I respect that. She's, old, not old. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom, if you ever see this, you're not old. I didn't say that.
She's older.
She's older, and I respect her, like where she is in life. And there's no point in me yanking anything from her, because I don't know that she could handle it. She's already told me she couldn't, right?
Right.
So I respect that. It was kind of difficult getting her to respect the fact that she cannot do the same to me, and eventually we got there, and so it's not difficult anymore. But it was.
Oh man, I could only imagine, because we have a similar setup with my wife's family, because my wife is not religious, her family very much are, and I I actually lost a job because of my outspoken atheism, and that caused a big hurdle in the family, because suddenly I was outspoken, and my mother-in-law was like, "You really can't say stuff like that here." Because you're going to offend people. And I'm like, no, I want to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can only imagine like how it is in like a family setup. Thanksgiving, for instance, when you're all just sitting there and going, well, we can't talk about that today.
At prayer, when it's time to pray over the turkey, I'm the only one sitting at the table going,
well, and you know what? I the very first Thanksgiving that I was here for in the US, there was a prayer, but since they don't do that. And
really?
I think, yeah, my wife's family have stopped doing like the prayer at Thanksgiving, which I think is that was the first and only time I ever saw them do it, was that very first Thanksgiving, and I haven't seen it since. So I guess like maybe we are progressing as a society, and maybe they are going, oh, okay, not everybody believes this. Let's not like in their face.
I don't know, not my family. They gonna gather around.
Well, come and move up here. We'll look after you.
Yeah.
And I actually had a conversation with my wife the other day about the differences in families here and in the UK, because it seems like parents over here in the US almost demand respect, and what they say is what goes. Where in the UK, if my dad had said something I didn't agree with, I would have no qualms about stepping in and telling him why I disagree. And there wouldn't be like, well, get out of my house. There would be like a discussion, and we talk about it, and we go, oh, okay, I see your point of view. And that would be it. And maybe we'd bring it up. And it's always been, whenever I have done that with my dad, it's always been like a really pleasant discussion.
Yeah.
But over here, I don't think you can do that.
Talking to a child and having a discussion with a child is spoiling the child and sparing the rod.
Right.
They call that gentle parenting. It's like, how dare you? What you mean you have conversations with your kids? How dare you care about what your child thinks about your decision? Like that is the mindset here in America, and then they wonder why children are acting up in school, or don't know how to deal with emotions, or
right. And I think we're in a lucky position. We're in a fortunate position, because we, as people who have families, we now get to teach our kids that it's okay to have these conversations, and it's a good thing, and hopefully then they'll pass it on. I really do think that over the next 10 years, there's going to be a massive shift in cultural upbringing of kids in this country.
In America?
Yeah, I genuinely
don't know. It feels like they're putting 10 commandments in the schools. Like, it feels like they're working really hard to.
Is that happening?
Yeah, I think it just happened in Kentucky.
I don't know. I think they talk about it, and they're like, we're going to do this, and then every time they try it, I feel like it gets shut down. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe it is, but I don't.
I think the superintendent is moving ahead with it. I just saw something about it a couple of days ago, but even them trying, right? Like,
right.
I feel like the goal is to indoctrinate the kids, because our generation is waking up and promoting like critical thinking, and they're like, oh shit, let's get to the kids, and like the parents are too far gone. We've lost control of them and their mind, so it's easier to get to the kids. And that there's just a lot. It kind of reminds me of like the Cain and Abel story. Like Adam and Eve sinned, they get these sinful bodies, but we don't see anything else that they do. And they're outside of the garden. They're no longer under the control of this God. But the next thing we see is the God is talking to the kids, and then the kids commit the kids commit murder. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like the Bible is a plan of their indoctrination and shit, the shit that they do. But yeah,
I'm a big fan of like let's leave it until they're 18 and then let them decide. Because
Yeah.
I'm sure as heck they won't. There'll be a far fewer religious folks if that was the way. I've got an 11-year-old stepdaughter, and she is openly atheist, which is very...
At 11, that's amazing.
Yeah, and because I think she sees me being open, and she's like, I'm brave about this now. And a lot of her friends come to her now and say, oh, I don't believe this either. And then, but I can't tell my parents. But they're now starting to get brave and have little conversations. And I genuinely think it's just like dropping little seeds of like, oh, it's okay to question. And as you know, as the years progress, and these 11-year-olds start talking to other 11-year-olds, and they'll just ask questions, and that may help things. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I say promote like critical thinking at an early age.
Absolutely.
I have a 17-year-old son who is a Christian, but one thing
really?
He has the residue from when I was, and then going to church with my mom and my brothers and stuff, his cousins, and TikTok indoctrinated him into the rapture. And so now he believes that he believes in the rapture. And so I try to get him to ask questions, think logically.
Yeah.
When he sends me things that he sees on TikTok, I always refute it with information and evidence and stuff. And I'll ask him, well, does this make logical sense? And I remind him, like, your belief is your belief, and you have a right to believe what you believe.
Right.
But I want you to always think critically and never let anyone tell you that you're not allowed to question.
Yes. I can only imagine how difficult that is.
Oh, he does. Like, he knows I'm atheist, and we discuss things. It's not difficult at all. It has not affected our relationship. And he said that he would never put the God above me, and I would never put atheism before him. Like, he's my son, and I'm his mom, and that's the most important.
Family first.
Yeah.
But that's something that irritates me in the USA, is that it's always the God first, then family, and you always see it on these profiles, like, oh, God first, and then no. I feel like if you're a family, you put your family first, and then beliefs.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a shift in that.
Absolutely. And then I think like the same with my oldest kids, they're atheists. Like, he's, because of the critical thinking, when he gets older, he's gonna be like, this shit don't make no sense. But I have to let him get there on his own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can't force them. I'm trying an experiment with my youngest. He's 2.5, and we are trying to go as long as possible without mentioning gods or religion in front of him, so that he comes, like, when he starts going out into the world by himself, he's going in fresh.
Yeah.
You know, because you hear so many folks saying, oh, kids are born believing in God. And I'm like, well, actually, he's made no attempt. I mean, he's 2.5. Why would he? He just cares about dinosaurs right now. But he's made no attempt at, how did this dinosaur get here? He doesn't believe.
He knows about dinosaurs, but he said God.
There you go. I'm going to tell you something before we've got some calls coming in, so this is good. Okay. But what I respect most about you, Thinker, is that you say the God, and it takes a lot to say the God. And I also say, wherever I can, the God, because it's the God that these people are talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than we're talking about the not name God, you know, because it's not the name of the person, of the thing. It is a God, and I respect that. So thank you for saying. We will get to some calls. We've got some lining up, and we've still got lines open if you want to call in. But before we get into the calls, we do have to thank our patron of the week. Every single week, we get to shout out a patron that donates through tiny.cc/patrontw for supporting the show. And this week's patron of the week is Victoria Vanderveer. Thank you, Victoria. And thank you to everybody else that contributes to the show. Right, now, Thinker, we have got calls. I think we need to get in. And this first call is a regular to the show. John from Canada is calling in. I don't know if you know John from Canada.
I don't know John from Canada.
You're in for a treat. Let me tell you before we get in. But anyway.
Wait, is this the guy that called in last Sunday?
Maybe we can ask him because
Okay.
he's on right now. Hey, John from Canada. You're on with John the Skeptic and Thinker. How you doing?
Very well. When she asked if I was on Sunday, which show is she talking about?
What was it?
Atheist Experience, but no, your voice does sound familiar. I think I've talked to you before, John.
John is here.
I've been calling for years, so you probably heard me at
Yes.
some point.
Okay.
A regular. I feel at this point he might as well just camp in on the stream and just wait to be called on, right, John? You've got how aliens could be mistaken for God.
Or demons. It's possible.
Okay. Well, fill us in by what you mean by that, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, well, someone smart, I don't know who, but someone smart said that any advanced technology or civilization would be mistaken for gods by people who don't have any knowledge of science or technology.
Well, but okay, I've got questions already. I'm already going, what? How could you know that? And who are you just making up? And I'm not suggesting you are making up, but someone smart once said is not getting us anywhere. But how on earth could you possibly reach that conclusion?
Well, if let's say you went to an island that's not technologically or scientifically advanced, and you did something. Let's say you did CPR in front of them to save a drowning person. They might mistake you for a god because you know something that they don't.
But now it feels like you're just saying, well, to them you're a god, but actually you might just be a person who knows a little bit about something that they don't know about.
But they might think of you as a god. It's possible.
They might, but how is that going to get us anywhere?
But
Like, are you
can we
asking a
agree that-
question, John?
Actually, it was RPC Clark who said it.
Yeah, we that's okay. Good, great. Maybe. Exactly. Let's just go strip this back. What point are you trying to make? Just aliens could be a god? Because you kind of jump from aliens to like someone seeing a civilization and going, "Oh, that must have been a god."
Okay, let me see if I can explain myself properly.
Okay.
Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that a long time ago, maybe in ancient Egypt or Israel and Middle East, advanced aliens who have spaceships, who have advanced technology, came to Earth, and they established themselves as gods because the people who are living there would think that, okay? And then it's possible that these aliens, assuming the role of gods, maybe they were the ones who wrote the Bible, and all religion is based on that. It's a possibility.
Okay, but I mean, it's possible that I could sprout roots and become a tree. You know,
Okay.
we could throw out any. It's possible, but how does that? Are you saying that because there are pyramids, that then proves a god?
I'm not saying it proves a god. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it's possible that ancient people may have mistaken aliens for God if aliens came here.
Okay. Okay. I think it looks like you're thinking right now.
So you're saying that? Are you talking about like the Anunnaki story, like the ancient alien stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
It could be them. It could be the ancient Egyptians, or it could be Christianity.
Why would the ancient Egyptians be aliens?
I didn't say they were aliens. I never said that. I said they may have worshipped aliens pretending to be gods. That's what I said.
They may have worshipped a crocodile and thought that was a god. That doesn't it doesn't get us anywhere. I'm trying to make sense of this, John, because I really enjoy when you do call in. I'm just trying to I'm trying to get this so that we can have a good conversation about it. And I'm really confused as to where we're going because maybe like the sky will fall down tomorrow. Maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't get us anywhere.
Likely, but it's possible.
Right. Maybe it is. So, okay. thinker. I may need some help here because I'm I'm really trying to make sense of this.
I'm not sure where he's trying to, like, if he's asking a question, or it sounds like he's just sharing information. Because we know that in antiquity, people did attribute different things to a god. Even in like first century Rome, if a person was intelligent or smart or could, like, freaking comprehend a fucking sentence, they said, "Oh my God, this is a god," right? Or they are divine. And so I think like he's just letting us know what we already know, that
Right.
people call things God.
And it sounds like you're now not godding the gap, but you're aliening the gap. And just
as atheists, you completely reject the idea that there's a supernatural God who created the world supernaturally, correct?
I'm not convinced that happened, right?
Okay, so if you're not convinced that happened, do you think it's more plausible that, which is more plausible, the belief that God is supernatural, that God exists and he's supernatural, everything that exists in the world is supernatural, or that the world came about by natural processes, but extraterrestrials pretended or
you're adding in an extra step again. You're adding in an extra step. Like you're ascribing a process to something. You're saying that this natural thing that happened, that we have an explanation for, or something that I accept as a decent explanation, was started now not by a god, but by aliens instead.
I'm not saying that aliens created the universe or the world. I'm just saying that they may have started religion. It's a possibility.
Started the religion?
Maybe
aliens came they drove
it's a clever, I mean, great, yeah, maybe aliens are the reason, but how would we demonstrate that?
I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Okay. Well, then I don't feel like there's much more of a conversation.
If I talk about the origin of life and the origin of the universe, anything is a possibility, correct?
Right, yeah, I would say, it could be possible that a lion farted the universe into existence. It's another suggestion, but then I'd have to prove it.
Yes, that's true. I would have to prove it. I'm not saying that I can't prove it. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Do you know what I'm open for? I'm open for an honest investigation.
But are you saying that they created the religion or the universe? Like, I'm confused.
I think he's just saying that it's a possibility that religion exists because of aliens. Great. I don't think that's a good explanation for why there's religion, because we know that humans for millennia have not understood how things worked and gone, oh, it must be because of a thing in the sky. And then more people went, oh yeah, the thing in the sky sounds like a good idea. Maybe we'll say that that's what it was. And then some more people went, oh, why don't we write some stories about the thing in the sky? And then other people went, oh, you know what? Those stories sound good. Maybe we should start believing that that's the reason for everything. And then, maybe that's how religion came about. There's nothing to say that aliens had done that. What I'm really enjoying right now.
I don't understand the need for you to attribute it to aliens, though.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to understand, and why you're saying that you're open to that investigation. What is that going to prove? Like, what is that going to change? Is what I'm trying to figure out. So let's say aliens did come here and do it. So what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Now we know the truth. We can go from there.
The truth of what?
But
the truth of what? That aliens exist?
Well, it would be groundbreaking if we did find out if that is the case. Don't you agree?
I think I don't know if I do. I think what's going on here, because I know, John, you've had some, like, you kind of stepped away from your religious beliefs, and you're now, am I right in saying that you identify as agnostic in the colloquial sense, as like a stepping stone between? Okay, well, so do you feel like you are trying to find some comfort in explanations that you don't have a decent understanding of?
Okay.
And just before you answer that, I'm just going to say that I'm having a great time watching our backup host right now because he's like, he is.
He's
I
losing
might
it.
bring him in a
Is it-
second because
is it
he's having a
Kelly?
good old time.
Is it Kelly?
It's not Kelly, no, it's Rob. We've got Rob today.
Okay. So, John DeFinker, can I ask you a question then?
Mhm.
Sure.
Okay. I know that you're atheist, but so I'm going to ask you this question. Are you satisfied with just saying that you do not know who or what created the universe, and you just want to live your life, and that's it?
Yes.
I'm going to jump in first and say that I don't even use the word created. Because created adds a whole level of having to reach an understanding of, right? I'm happy that stuff exists and I'm here existing. And, maybe in 40 years, I might not exist anymore. And in the time that I was here, I had a good old time and I spread my seed once with one child and then I got a vasectomy. So I'm not going to do that again. And, I'm here just enjoying life. And I'm okay with not understanding exactly how it all happened. I'm just happy with existing in the now. But I don't know. That was my answer, Thinker. What's your answer?
Yes, like I don't, this is what I'm trying to understand from people who need this question answered. What is going to change in your day-to-day life? Let's say that scientists tomorrow pull out this big ass telescope and they're like, look, there's Yahweh sitting on the throne. And what's going to change? What's going to change?
Nothing is going to change, but you have to admit, having knowledge, any knowledge, is better than not having it.
That's an ego thing for you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like that's a intrinsic motivation for you. But your life, when you wake up in the morning, it's going to be the same. You're gonna have to go to work. You're gonna have to pay. Hold on, John.
Okay.
You're gonna go to work, right? You're gonna have to pay all your bills, right? If you get sick, you still gonna go to the hospital. You ain't gonna be able to like pick up the telephone and call Yahweh just because they can see him through a telescope.
Right.
Like I think a lot of people spend a lot of time, unless you're in physics or science, some type of scientific field where you're, working on something that's like building GPS and sending balloons in space or something. I don't think you need to be worried about this stuff. Like,
what we do need to worry about is that religion does exist and it's causing a lot of damage in society because of everything that we have to do because of religion, and that's what we should probably be focusing on. Where it came from, does that, like Thinker says, does that matter?
Well, I don't understand this attitude. It's the search for knowledge that makes life better. If it wasn't for the search for knowledge, technology wouldn't exist. And it's the search for knowledge that gave you the very technology that we're using right now to have this conversation.
It's search for knowledge that makes sense, right? Like you within your scope, right? We're finite humans. We have limited cognitive abilities, limited perception. There's no sense of us trying to go like if you believe that a God is outside of time and space or in another dimension or in another universe, why are you reaching in somebody's library all the way on Pluto or and beyond to get knowledge that you don't have access to, that isn't going to affect your day to day? If you want knowledge and you want to make life better, learn how to cure cancer.
Right.
Learn how to what? I didn't hear what we just said. I did not hear.
Learn how to cure cancer. Like there's so much knowledge. You don't need to know who created the universe.
Any knowledge of science can lead to that. That's what I'm talking about.
What?
I don't know why you're turning your back on knowledge. Knowledge.
You're the one who brought up knowledge, John.
Just because I feel like if we don't bring him on, his eyes might explode out of his head. I feel like Rob needs to say something. Can we bring Rob in? Hello, Rob. And rookie mistake. You need to unmute yourself. There we go.
Hi, I'm back from the dungeon. John, I'm thrashing in the background, and I want you to please clarify that last point. Did you say something like knowledge is always good? Was that right?
Yeah. If you have extra knowledge, A, you now know something you didn't know, and now B,
Cool.
you can use that knowledge. Maybe not directly, but
Have you ever seen a
something that's
movie
useful.
where someone's committing a crime and then they look at someone and go, "They've seen our faces"? That's called a cognito hazard, where having that knowledge is in fact actually bad for you. Great. So now we have an example where knowledge is bad.
Okay, I don't know what it has to do with it, but why do you want to bury your?
Whoa, hold up. You said that all knowledge is always good. Yes? I've given you an
Yeah, I said
example where having knowledge is bad. Do you agree?
In that situation, it's bad, but I'm not talking about a crime. I'm talking about
Therefore,
science.
it
I'm
is
talking about
not the
knowledge.
case that all knowledge is good. Yes?
Okay, that may be true, but what does that have to do with what I'm talking about?
Because
that's
that's
what you
literally
said.
what you're talking about. I'm meeting you where you are. You said all knowledge is always good, and I've given you an example where some knowledge is bad. And if that's the case, then we should be able to evaluate different levels and different understandings of knowledge for whatever utility or purpose that they have. You can't just say all knowledge is always good. I could say, I hope all knowledge is always good. But again, if I see someone do something and then they look at me and go, you've seen my face, and then they kill me, that's an example of knowledge is bad. So knowledge by itself is not necessarily a good or a bad thing. So we can reject the premise knowledge is always good and we can go from a different point, but this is a false start.
Okay, first of all, in your analogy, if you see the killer's face, A, you can testify against him in court, and B, I'm talking about knowledge of the universe. It was knowledge of the universe.
I can't testify against them if I'm dead.
Right.
Now led to technology. That's what I'm talking about. Why do you want to?
Okay, so now it's not all knowledge, it's only knowledge of the universe that's good. So we've shifted this goalpost, it moved. Do we agree that all knowledge of the universe is good and knowledge of killers' faces is bad?
I'm not talking about the killer, I'm talking about the universe. And yes, all knowledge about the universe is good.
Okay, now we have a new start.
Okay, so let's start from there. Tell me how I'm wrong. Please tell me.
Well, I don't know that you are yet. Can you please go on from there? All knowledge of the universe is always good, is what you're saying? Because I don't know how we got here from a misquoted Arthur C. Clarke quote.
What I'm saying is that I see no problem why we cannot investigate, find out the origins of us, the Earth, the universe, and see what started all of this. If
What?
it's not,
Okay.
something else.
But you're acting as if no one has. But hold on.
I'm going to mute you, John. There you go.
You're acting as if no one has been trying to answer that question since the beginning of time, right? Like this isn't novel. What you're saying isn't brand new, right? And what I'm asking you is, what will change? What will change? Like there's so much more you could be trying to figure out right now instead of trying to figure out whether there's a God that molded you together with some dirt and spit.
You're on mute, John. You can go.
It doesn't matter if it will change for something. It's good to have knowledge just for the sake of it. It's like knowing who your parents are. If you're an adult and you don't know who your parents are, then you find out. It won't change your day-to-day life, but now at least now you know.
Not always, because what if those parents abandoned you and you didn't want anything to do with them, and you were this knowledge was forced upon you, and you still like, well, they abandoned me. I don't want anything to do with them, and now I know who they are. Like it's not always good.
I don't know why you guys are averse to the idea of gaining knowledge. Why are you averse to it?
No one said that. There is so much knowledge that you could gain. Like you could gain knowledge that's within your scope that it could be impactful for you. Like I literally am asking you, what would be the purpose? What would change? And you just keep going. I mean, it's just cool to know.
Okay.
That's all you keep saying.
To answer your question, let's say aliens did create us. Now, if we know that, maybe we can find a way to contact them. And who knows? Maybe they'll give us the cure for cancer. Maybe they'll help us live forever. Maybe they'll end war.
What if is? I mean, cool, great. I mean, if that was what happened, if aliens did make us and we could, great. But how do we get to that point where we discover? I think if this is something you truly want to a route you truly want to go down, John, I would do a lot of research and find ways of demonstrating that there are aliens out there that had some hand or long-fingered way of creating humans, and then we can find a way of contacting them. But I mean, just going, what if there are aliens doesn't get us anywhere.
I think
Okay.
I think a big part of where this comes
Yeah,
from,
go ahead.
really quick, is that, thank you, sorry. I think a big part of where this comes from is something that happened to me a long time ago, where it's just like, all knowledge is always good, always engage in all attempts of speculation, but there is a finite amount of time, and not all speculation is equal to all other forms of speculation. So we have to use value judgments and basic probabilities on using our resources and time to aim and search for truth where it is most likely to occur. I agree with you, just so you know, in the very basic premise that generally learning things is good. I totally agree with you. But you can't say all knowledge is always good because, for example, I just gave you, if you see a killer and then they kill you because they know that you saw them, this is literally called a cognito hazard. We have a name for that. So I can say both are true at the same time. Generally, learning things is good. Sometimes it's not, but just because generally learning things is good does not mean that, what if there are aliens that will tell us things? I am not proving the aliens. I'm just saying, like, what if, man, is not a useful starting point. We start from a useful point and we'll get there. We don't work backwards.
Okay, so what do you suggest?
In
For
regards to what?
Okay, let's say so. First of all, the whole branch of science dedicated to finding out the origins is called archaeology. So if we want to find out the origin of humanity or the universe, what do you suggest? I'm asking you.
I would say we do as much research as possible that is feasible and reasonable. But therein is my point, where we say reasonable investigation. You would then need to make the jump to go, what if aliens?
But we can't
Right.
completely rule it out.
Okay, sure. This is a problem of epistemology. We can't rule it out. Can we rule it in?
Well,
what evidence of aliens do we have to even begin that consideration? Because to your claim, we can't rule it out. We also can't rule out Pepe the pink unicorn.
Right. Or my lion that farted it all into existence, you know.
They are equally valid.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are equally valid and equally absurd, then why should we trust one over the other?
We don't.
Correct. Then they're not useful either until we find a reason to actually just use one. We need to find a reason to rule it into investigation, not a reason to rule it out of. Otherwise, do you know there's still a floating teapot out there? You can't prove there's not. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Okay, so I guess I was using the law. So I guess I was using the logic of Cat Hand, wasn't I?
I don't know whose logic you were using.
I might need help with that one, to be honest.
I think it looked like you had something to say, because you also were going.
I just think this is one of like, if you can't explain why you need to know this other than it's just cool information to know, like, I tend to like not give a damn about this type of question, because it's, to me, it's just a waste of time, and it's just like a filler. And I'm asking, very pointed question, and his response is, oh, maybe once we find out, we can like pick up the phone and call the alien and be like, hey, how do you cure cancer? When there's real work going on right, here on Earth with scientists, trying to figure out how to cure cancer. And if you're really worried about, curing cancer, then go to medical school or learn how to be a tech lab, a lab tech or something. Get close in it and get your hands dirty in that. Like, there's so much knowledge that you really could gain that could be beneficial to the world that you live in, the people around you, instead of sitting here trying to figure out who created you because you feel like you're some unique, special piece of human.
I had a quick question, if I may, and then I'll be done.
I never
Go
said
ahead.
that I think I'm a special piece of human, but the same science that
I-
you can find out the origins, the same science you use to cure medical school. But I want to ask the three of you.
No, you didn't say it, but I'm
Well-
saying, no, you didn't say it yourself. But what I'm saying is this obsession, like it's okay to be in awe, right? And kind of wondering, but like when you're obsessed with trying to figure out like who created you and your reasoning is, oh, it's just knowledge, it's just be cool, cool to know. It's usually a self-motivated reason because you yourself think that you're, pretty unique and pretty special, and like you're put together in such an intelligent way. The sun doesn't fuck up your skin. Like you think human beings are like this. You think the earth, right? The human beings, the earth, and is like was put together in some intelligent way, like right? That
I didn't say that. I never said that. I never wanted.
but I mean, you're attributing it to aliens and shit. Like you think it had to have been done by something, some higher conscious, some higher intelligence.
I said aliens may have impersonated our gods. That's all I said. I never once said they created the universe.
Okay, just because I'd like to drive this a good way, Rob had a question for you, John, and then I think I heard that you had a question for us. So let's let Rob ask his question first, and then we'll come back to you, and you can ask another question.
Okay.
Thanks, John. John,
Yes.
I have a question, which is, I'm relatively new here, so I just wanted to double check. Did I hear that in the history of you, that you used to be religious and you are potentially less so now? Is that the case?
That is correct.
Awesome. I think, and I'm not saying this is happening to you, but I want to suggest this, and I want you to consider it, which is, I think something that happens to a lot of religious people, like pretty much all of them actually, is that people feel like they have reasons to believe why things exist the way that they do. That their religion or whatever religion that they are ascribed to gives them answers. And when that happens, they feel secure, I imagine. Note, I was never very religious at all, ever, so I'm only supposing. But what this means is that these people tend to be like, oh, okay, I know why things are. And if I don't, I know that there is a reason for why things are. But now that you're less religious, it may be the case that saying, I don't know, or being okay with ignorance, literally just not knowing, is perhaps a little weird and scary. And that's why earlier when you asked, well, how would we go about doing that, right? Because we agreed we should learn things generally. And I go, I don't know. Like, I'm actually deeply okay with saying that. But your supposition that you put forward is structurally identical to me saying, what if we're all just in a simulation? And you know what? The cure to cancer, they just haven't unlocked that DLC yet. Hey, man, I'm just saying it's possible. Great. Okay, now hold on. Let's say that's true and that we are, in fact, in a simulation and they haven't unlocked the cure cancer DLC yet. If that's the case, what changes? Nothing. Nothing in your life changes. Nothing you can affect changes. So it doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. That's your ultimate point.
No, not necessarily. If we then learn and then could affect it, maybe it would matter. But you see, now I'm going down that hypothetical, that a hypothetical of a hypothetical. There's a point where it's not useful. So I'm saying right now, I don't know things, and I'm okay with that. And knowledge is generally good, but I can also acknowledge it's not always. So while I appreciate that we learn, I also appreciate my limited time. Sometimes we don't know. And that's it.
Mm-hmm. And we may never know. And you just have to learn to be okay with that.
Okay, but if you can learn something, that's a good thing. It can only help you.
Well, and in that case, go and learn. There are, because I know you said aliens could be mistaken for God, but actually it sounds like aliens may have started religion, and I don't understand how. And forgive me if I'm putting words in your mouth here, but I don't understand where religion started. I'd like to learn where that came from. There are courses out there where people go into depths of the starts of X, Y, and Z religion. X, Y, and Z religion for those in the US. And you can go and get some facts and here's the information that says, roughly you can learn where this religion started. You can learn where this religion started. And you can go and get that information rather than sitting here or calling in, which we do appreciate, by the way, calling in and saying, I think maybe it was aliens that started a religion. You could go and learn and get some facts on some courses where these religions started.
Yeah, maybe I will do that. You see,
you should. And tell you what, John.
Let me ask a question, because I said this like 10 minutes ago. Like, I would like to know, John, what's different from when I said it 10 minutes ago and now you understand it?
Because I didn't hear what you said. But
you didn't hear me when I said this 10 minutes ago?
I'm the kind of person who look out the night sky. I just wonder what is out there. What started all this?
I don't think you're alone in that.
What? Oh yeah.
Can I amend that? Because I want to show you something. Because as I said, I was never religious. I can also look out the night sky and I can go, oh my, this is amazing. And then you say, what started all of this? No. That's actually a step too far. You should actually say, was this started? Because you're presupposing a start in the first place. Earlier you said, if you could learn something, shouldn't you? And my point is that if is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because if you could learn something, shouldn't you? Right? Now you have to find out if you can learn it. You have to go a step back. I think I just need you to go one step further and go, is this valuable to even go forward with? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no.
Okay, but can I just see if you one question? Do you believe in the Big Bang, or do you believe that the universe was always here? I know you don't believe in God.
Ask it again. Sorry, I was distracted.
Okay, what do you believe? Do you believe the universe was always here? Do you believe the Big Bang? Because I know that you don't believe in God. So what do you think?
What do you think, thinker?
Yeah.
The first off, the Big Bang isn't a belief system. Evolution isn't a belief system. And this is what I'm saying, right? There is no need for me to have a belief in any of that. I trust what those who have studied this have shared as far as like in empirical evidence, science, right? And I allow information to come and information to change as information comes. If I was wrong about something, I changed what I believed I once knew, right? Like there's no belief system in the beginning of the universe involved in what I think I know and what I don't know. I'm not attached to an answer to that. Like it's not the Big Bang isn't a belief system. I don't quite understand why believers ask that question. And like, I don't know, again, like, I don't know, it sounds like you're saying that you're not trying to attach this to an idea of a God creating or aliens creating, but that's what I hear. Like, I hear you are holding room for that. Like, why don't you accept what scientists say so far about the creation of the universe?
I do trust scientists, but like I said earlier, when you're talking about the creation of the universe, anything can be a possibility.
But therein is the problem, because you're saying the word created, and yes, maybe you are accepting what is in the scientific community as the explanation for everything, but you're still going back to, but what created it? And I don't use that word. There's nothing for me to believe that there is any reason to accept that things were created. I just accept that things are, and I am more than happy with that.
And just go from there.
Yeah. Me personally, yes, but I can't speak for the other two.
John, do you really plan on helping like cure cancer?
No,
You have to say John from Canada because I thought you meant me
I don't have
then.
the time or the ability for it. Believe me, I have no.
You don't have the time to help cure cancer, but you have the time to figure out how the universe was created.
Look, it won't be me personally trying to figure out how the universe is created. I'm just saying that we can figure out how that happened. Scientists can do it, not me personally.
And I do think that there are explanations out there for why there is a universe that we currently see, and that the understanding that we have for it.
You said
Well, because right now, as we speak, there's a giant radar dish in Puerto Rico that's sending signals into outer space because we're curious.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's proof that we humans were a curious species. We're not just.
Whoa.
Well, no one. What?
Or did I say that? Did I say he said that? Like,
No, that's proof that some people are curious.
Yeah.
Do those people represent all of humanity?
Well,
there are some people who.
It was your curiosity that led you away from religion. If you weren't curious, you would.
But Rob wasn't religious, and I wasn't religious. So
and it wasn't curiosity that pulled me away. It was the fact that it was lies that pulled me away.
Is he lying? Was that what you said? Lying?
Yeah, it wasn't true. It wasn't curiosity that pulled me away. It was me actually trying to get closer to the. Hold on. It was me trying. John, every time I talk, you talk, and I haven't really been able to I haven't been able to get it really my clear thoughts out.
I'm sorry.
I would like to be a part of the conversation too.
I've muted John. Carry on, thinker.
Thank you. As I was trying to say, I was actually trying to get closer to the God when I started, when the deconstruction process just started happening. I was studying more. I was reading. I was fact checking the claims in the text, the historical claims. And as I started uncovering the truth, that's what pulled me away, because I found out that it wasn't true, not my curiosity.
My unmute button is not working. Here we go. You're back.
But if you weren't curious in the first place, you wouldn't have noticed that it was a lie. There had to be a level of curiosity in there, or else you just would have accepted it.
It wasn't curiosity. It was faith. It was faith and my belief that I was that I loved a God, and that I was chosen of a God, and I was trying to get closer to the God. It was not curiosity.
So what happened?
Two things. What you just did is not believe her in her own personal experience when she said she wasn't curious. So you should probably believe her when she said that she wasn't curious and she was listening to it and discovering it live. And the second, you've done a thing where you said, oh, well, it was curiosity that led you to that point. So now you have put curiosity into literally every action, meaning now your claim is unfalsifiable. It's impossible for anyone to not be curious. So she has to be wrong. So that can't work logically. And two, believe her on what she said about her own experience.
I cannot believe that there's a human being out there who's not curious about anything. That just doesn't seem possible.
I never said I wasn't curious about anything. I said it wasn't curiosity that pulled me away from this religion or this God. Those are two different things.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Well, we got there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
Is there anything else, John? Whilst we got you on the line.
I think we're done for tonight.
Okay.
John, get some sleep.
Okay.
Wake up tomorrow. Wake up tomorrow. Be happy, full of joy.
Yeah.
Not knowing how the universe was created.
Yeah.
And learn how to bake a cake.
Right. A really nice cake.
What makes you think you don't know how?
I don't know. Learn a different type. Gain some new knowledge on, I don't know. Bake some brownies.
I gain new knowledge every day. All right. Well, have a good night.
I've got a little bit of homework for you, John, before you disappear. I would like you to, just for 1 week, not use the word created. Just for 1 week. When you think about stuff, don't think the word created. Just think why.
Oh, why? W-I-W-H-Y. That's what.
W-H-Y, yeah. Just think why. if you want to think about stuff, just think why, rather than thinking created, because I think that is causing some issues here.
Okay, I'll think of why. Why am I here? Why are we here?
There you go.
I'll
What?
stop.
Why? Well, no, okay. Actually, maybe not why. Maybe
You
more.
about to send him doing a whole nother.
I'm going to change the homework. I'm the teacher here. I'm allowed to. Hang on.
What you doing, John?
How? There you go. How? How did this?
Oh.
How am I? How am I?
Oh, I know how I got here.
But yeah, I think we all know how we all got here. And that is something I never want to think about.
Okay, well, have a good night,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen.
You too. Thanks for calling in, John. Wow.
Bye-bye.
It's so interesting. You said, "How am I?" He goes, "Oh, I know how I got here."
Yeah.
His mind isn't gonna. It's gonna be very difficult for him to get away from the thought of who created all of
Yeah,
this.
it is. I genuinely think, though, that is where a lot of the problem comes from, is because we've just, as a society, been taught created. And that just adds a whole new level of explanation that's
Yeah.
not needed.
Mhm.
Well, I wanted to say, John and Theater, thanks for popping me in, because as you saw, I was thrashing.
He was,
But-
my word.
But please do send me back to the dungeon.
Get back to the
Okay.
dungeon here. Get back to the dungeon. I guess I can. I'm sorry, Thinker, that call was as frustrating as it was.
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating.
I could see that. Is that something that you deal with a lot on your?
Well, it wasn't the topic. It was kind of difficult for me to kind of get my thoughts out. If the trying to get the footing. So that was what was frustrating me more than anything.
Mhm.
But yeah, no.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to call in and with a topic like that, write it down so that you know exactly how you're trying to get the words across, because we spent a long time of that trying to just work out what the bloody hell he was talking about.
No, we like on my live, I get a lot of people asking us, well, then if you don't believe in God who made us, like we have those conversations all the time. And I go down a line of questioning to them and ask them, once you find out, now what? Right? Like there's a line of questioning that I usually try to figure out why they want to know this. So I'm pretty used to having that type of conversation.
It's just hard though. I can't tell you how frustrated I get with just hearing the word created. It's one of my biggest bugbears,
Yeah.
because I've said it. I'm not going to say it again. It just really gets on my nerves.
And then the whole belief that the Big Bang and evolution is a belief system. Well, you
Right.
believe in science. You believe in evolution. Like,
Somebody genuinely said to me the other day on a heated exchange online, it takes far more faith to be an atheist.
Yeah.
And they genuinely said that. And that was another one that's like, oh, come on. If you think about what you define faith as, and then you're saying you get to this position and that's silly, but you're saying that what you use to get to your position is silly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or that atheism is a religion.
Oh, if we could just list off all the things that annoy us as non-believers, and please don't say those things to us. Just gets on my nerves. Well, we've still got lines open if you want to call in. How far do you think you would go with like having conversations? Do you pull people on visually, or is it always just like an audio thing on your TikToks?
There's always audio.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you find that difficult though when you only hear someone? Because a lot of the time, like when we saw Rob getting frustrated, we had to bring him on visually to see like where he was going and seeing the face. Do you not find? No.
Like what for? Like what do you think?
Like, and when you have a conversation with someone and you can see their face and see how they're responding, does that make it easier to have the conversation with them?
No, like I'm an active listener. I can tell when a person is frustrated, even just from listening. When they speak, I can tell when they're gaslighting. I also let them know when I'm frustrated. Like the whole point of having these conversations is being authentic, right? Like I don't do. That's what I was telling you. Like in the green room, I'm a very straightforward person. Like I don't do candy coating. and things like that. So when I am talking to people, they know when I'm pissed, and I'm going to tell them, and believers don't, let me not generalize, but a lot of believers don't know how to deal with emotions, right? They have been shamed into feeling anger or expressing anger, and they think it's sinful. And so they'll pretend like they're calm while using very manipulative, gaslighting, like abusive tactics. And I call it out, and then next thing, like I'll call it out, and I say, right there, right there, you just did it, you just did it. And next thing you know, they're screaming and yelling,
Whoa.
and themselves. But I don't think not having them on video, it takes away any of that.
Okay.
For us. No.
I need to get into going on these other platforms and experiencing this stuff, because I am lazy, and I don't, and I should, because I think I'd learn a lot more.
I'm getting on like the TikTok platform.
Yeah, and coming and joining in and seeing, exactly how it goes, because I'm new to all this.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we did just have someone jump in, and then they decided that they didn't want to speak to us because maybe they didn't want to push their beliefs onto us. But we do have some lines open still, and we've got a little bit left of the show before we wrap it up. So, okay. And you said that you do TikTok, but you also do YouTube. Do you find that the audience on TikTok is more engaged and more likely to call in, or is it 50-50?
So I usually get a steady stream of callers on TikTok. I have not pulled in callers from YouTube just yet. I am working on that setup to where I can take calls from YouTube, but TikTok the engagement on TikTok tends to be, pretty steady. We average about 800 to 900 viewers.
Wow.
Per stream on TikTok.
Do you think
but it's interesting because we'll have like 800 people in the room and maybe 2 or 3 people coming up on stage to talk.
Do you think that you could tell who's called in from TikTok versus who's called in from YouTube, and that there's like a difference in the demeanor of the person calling in?
Well, because of the avenue that they would be brought in, yeah, I could tell.
Okay.
But as far as like, if I didn't know that they were coming in from YouTube, yeah, I think so.
Okay, because I always feel like you go to certain social medias and you can go, oh, I'm now on this one because the people are speaking this way, and if I go to this other one, oh, it's a much different vibe.
Yeah,
so I just
YouTube is the suburbs and TikTok is the hood. Like that's like, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get some folks from the hood then to call in and prove to us why there is a God, or why ghosts are real, or something like that. Because I think that's what we need right now. After aliens prove religion, or aliens create a religion, we need something a little bit more tame. So let's get those in. And you have done like tons of shows now, right? Truth Wanted and Atheist Experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and you've had like a good experience on all of them. Like the calls, I feel like on this one are a bit more spread out over what we talk about. There's
I think I've talked to John. I think I've done Truth Wanted 3 times. I think this is my 3rd time with Truth Wanted. I think I've probably talked to John every single time. His voice sounds familiar, and it gets to the point to where I can recognize voices. I talk to people so much, but yeah, I've talked to him.
Like, that was actually a fairly tame call for John. There have been times where it's been so heated, there's been an explosion, and someone's hung up on the other person. Mostly John just hangs up on us, but that was actually a fairly tame one. So I appreciate him calling in. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting many more calls coming in. So I think, let me just go through the announcements and make sure we've done everything that we need to do before we wrap up. Let's have a look. Don't forget that you can get your merch. Here we go, merch time. It's merch. You can get your Truth Wanted merch at visit tiny.cc/merchaca. There's t-shirts, there's hoodies, there's mugs, there's hats. Look at all that glorious stuff. I do have a t-shirt that I wear proudly around. And people go, oh, you want some truth? Yeah, I want some truth. Give me some truth. If you want to hear about or hear our content in only audio or audio only form, please visit tiny.cc/AEN podcasts for all the latest ACA show stuff. There's another way to support us by sending us super chats. If you get some super chats in on any of our streams, we will read them out before the end of the show. And last, but of course, by no means least, we'd like to thank the crew. So let's bring up that crew cam and say thank you to you all the video operators and audio operators and mods and note takers and cats and dogs, everybody there, and especially the call screeners because they have a hard job. Thank you so much for everything that you do. And thank you again, Thinker, for joining. It was a quiet show, but we got a lot done with some aliens. And of course, I mean, he was on for most of it, but Rob, thank you for helping out tonight. Come on back out of your dungeon. Usually at this point we ask, what was your favorite call? Well, we only had that one, but I could see that you were getting more and more frustrated. Oh, he's done the thing again where he forgets to.
I've done the thing. I'm such a novice. Yes. I mean, what I liked about him was that I think I've seen John in previous shows because I've watched before,
right.
And generally I get the feeling that he is at least asking in good faith. I just often think that he's asking the wrong questions or he's generally confused. I'm sure he'd say the same thing about me. But I was like, it started immediately with the misquoted Arthur C. Clarke quote because the quote is actually, any advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic, and that completely changes the tone of the conversation in the first place.
Right.
Because it doesn't say that it is magic, it's like magic. If we talk about magic, then it turns into supernatural. So like that call was just all over the place, and I just wanted to help us have a through line.
Mm-hmm. We got there in the end, we had time. We could get there.
Though I do appreciate bringing me in. I hope I didn't step on any toes, but
no, you're good. You're good. You're fine. Could you just reiterate the question of the week for us, just so that we remember for next week?
Of course. That's on a different tab. Hold on. So we talked about it earlier in the show, but the question of the week is, what biblical mistranslation should be in the Bible? Take a verse from the Bible and have some fun with it. What else could it mean? What should it have meant? All that sort of fun stuff. What biblical mistranslation should be in the Bible?
There you go. Leave a comment on the bottom of the video and we will get them read out next week, the top 3. And Thinker, you've done this before. Do you have any words of wisdom?
Oh, words of wisdom. Go to sleep. Stop trying to figure out who created you. Just live life.
Yeah.
Laugh and learn. Honestly, I have this tattoo.
What is it?
It says live, laugh, learn. At least the tattoo guy told me because it's in Chinese. I don't know. I trust him. But it says live, laugh, learn. Everywhere in my house is live, laugh, learn. And my live is live, laugh, and learn. And that's all we can do. Right? Is learn every day within the scope of our capabilities and admit when we're outside of our scope. I don't know everything. And I don't think the human race will ever be able to know everything about our existence or, the world outside of us. And worrying about that on a daily basis, which is what created this religion and stuff. And I think it causes a lot of illness. It puts our eyes in places that we shouldn't be looking and it makes us not look where we should be looking, which is helping children who are dying from cancer or hungry children here on the planet. So yeah, if we focus on living, focus on loving and laugh a little, just be a little bit better. Better world.
Oh, I love it. There you go. Well, thanks for joining us on Truth Wanted. We will be back next time with some more searching for some truth. Thank you.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callth.